Okay, guys, we got actually a new variant apparently of COVID. Now we got the Omicron variant, and I don't know what number does this bring us up to here? I mean, are we at 10 yet? Like, do we get like a free like ice cream now we punch that card enough times? Like, come on, how many of these variants do we have now? We're now on the Omicron variant. I mean, I barely. I mean, I remember back when it was Lambda, right? I remember back when it was Delta. When it was the Delta variant. Oh no, the Delta variant was going to ruin everything. It was going to destroy the world. Then Lambda started coming about, and they were again worried, saying we need to lock down again. Lambda is what we need to worry about. And I'll be honest, I didn't hear nothing about Lambda. I didn't hear anything about anyone being harmed from any of this. I mean, I heard a little bit about the Delta, but all these other variants that have happened, I have yet to hear almost anyone at all mention anything about them like in my personal life. I only hear it from the news. I only hear it from the media. I don't hear any doctor that I visit mention it. I don't hear anyone who I know mentioning that they got this particular illness. For the most part, all I hear is the Alpha variant and the Delta variant. But no, now we got an Omicron variant that's apparently breaking out in Africa of all places, which of course now results in some travel bans, which some people are now saying is racist and all this stuff again. I mean, you know what? Biden said the travel bans under Trump were racist, so I have no problem people calling him racist for making a travel ban on Africa, which, let's be honest, won't stop the spread one bit. Let's just be real here. It didn't stop the spread in the early days. It's not going to stop it now. It's already probably in our country, even if we don't even, even if we haven't detected it yet, it's probably already here. Let's be perfectly real. However, this brings up a interesting question. I said, how many of these have we had? It doesn't feel like it was that long ago that we were at Lambda. Well, apparently, the WHO has been, by the WHO, don't mean the band, of course. I mean the World Health Organization. I wish it was the band. They admit to actually apparently skipping over certain Greek alphabet letters as to, of course, not offend anyone. So we got this story right here from the Daily Caller. The WHO admits to skipping over the Z variant to avoid causing offense. Avoid causing offense. So here, the World Health Organization said Saturday it did not name the newly spread Omicron variant of COVID-19 the Z variant because it may cause offense. According to the Greek alphabet being used by the WHO to classify COVID-19 variants, the next two variants to be named by the organization should be the new variant and the Z variant. However, due to the body's best practices for naming new disease developed in 2015, it skipped over both names and jumped straight to the Omicron variant. So apparently they have this rule here, and it's posted right here, that it went to mu to Omicron, jumping both new and Z. New. The reasoning was people would get confused thinking it was a new variant. I mean, sure. I mean, I think people are. There's a lot of dumb people out there, I guess. But I mean, it is a new variant, so that kind of makes made sense. Seems kind of dumb to me. And Z because it's a common surname, and we have agreed that naming rules. We have agreed naming rules that avoid using place names and people's names, animals, etc., to avoid stigma. Avoid stigma. Now, I don't know who would hear the Z variant and think, you know what? That variant was caused by Z, who runs the local Chinese restaurant down the road. I mean, come on. No one's thinking that. We know the real reason why they're not going to use Z. The real reason why they're not going to use Z is simply due to the fact that it reminds people where this came from. It reminds people where the disease itself started at. If this disease started over in Canada, they would be naming it the Z variant. Let's be real. All right, they would not mind whatsoever. The issue is, if you've noticed, the media for about a month or so, really ever since we found out that Fauci was actually helping fund the Wuhan lab, we haven't talked about where COVID originated for a long time. It's not been on any news network. No one's really discussing it anymore. And it's like we're not even concerned about it at all. Which is ridiculous, because even if it is a natural occurring disease and didn't break out from a lab, then we still need to understand it at its original form. We have to understand that original form if we hope to overcome it in the future. The fact that we still don't understand where it originally, or where it came from, or let me rephrase it, we quote unquote don't know where it came from. Of course, we have a couple a couple good ideas that once were conspiracy theories, but now of course are looking to be more likely to be true. The fact though that we are ignoring where this disease came from says a lot, right? And we know the WHO is in the pockets of the Chinese. We understand this because they've made it so clear from day one of this disease. Of course, they ran cover for the fact that China lied to us about how the disease spreads. And people are saying, well, they didn't lie to us about how disease spread. They didn't know. They didn't understand. Well, then what the hell was the Wuhan lab researching? They were researching bat-related coronaviruses. Now, even if the disease did not originate in the laboratory and instead originated in the wet market, their laboratory should, at least researching the disease, should understand the fact it's probably transmissible through the air. So don't lie and sit there and say, oh, they didn't know. Yes, they knew. They knew it transmitted by air, and they lied to all of us, and the WHO ran cover for them. When a reporter brought up, of course, hey, what about, what's happening in Taiwan? Taiwan's done a very good job at combating the coronavirus. The WHO acted like they didn't hear the question and then cut off the interview. Just cut it off. Check out the video. It's almost frightening. It's totally like 1984. It's insane just how fast they just go, no, that question never occurred. Just skip on to the next one. Just skip on to the next one. No, don't worry about that question. Go to the next question. It's really frightening, actually, the things the WHO has done for China. So the WHO deciding not to name this variant Z is strictly to help them. We know it has to be to help them because there's no sense in not naming it Z. No one's going to hear Z and think it came from some dude named Z. Okay? It's just not how it is. No one's going to think that way. You can make the argument for the new variant. I'll give you that. You can make the argument for the new variant, but the Z variant is strictly done. It's strictly going to be jumped over to make sure people forget where this disease originated from. It originated from China. Or as Trump likes to say, China. It originated from China. It originated either in the wet markets or more likely, probably the Wuhan lab, which we know was researching bat-related coronaviruses. They don't want us to think about that. They don't want us to question any of it, because they know it will make China look bad, and the WHO is in the pockets of China. So, they're going to sit there, they're going to do what they do, they're going to skip over it. Now we have the OMICRON variant. All I can think of when I hear that is, of course, Omicron Persei 8 from Futurama. But, now we have the OMICRON variant. I don't know what it's going to do. As far as we can tell, everyone's been saying, the doctor who found it, the doctor who found this variant is apparently saying it's more transmissible, but it's not nearly as deadly, not nearly as bad on your body, which, that's kind of all diseases after a certain amount of time, right? Of course, a disease doesn't want to kill you. It wants to use you as a host. It doesn't want to kill you, all right? Because if it kills you, it dies as well, right? It's like that Norm Macdonald bit about cancer, where he says, they say you lost the battle with cancer. Well, no, the cancer's inside of you. So when you die, you kind of killed the cancer too. So it's kind of a draw. It's a great bit. No way I do it justice. But a disease doesn't want to die. It wants to live. It wants to keep moving. It wants to go into more, it wants to spread. So it's not going to try to kill you. So when these diseases start, transforming and have these new variants, typically, and not saying always, but typically, they're going to be less deadly. All right? They're going to be less deadly and less just symptoms in general, right? They're going to become more mild because they need to figure out how to adjust to our bodies so they can continue to live and so they continue to spread. So apparently, according to the doctors over in Africa, they're saying it's a very mild cold. It's nothing bad whatsoever, and it's more transmissible. And, that might suck for some people who might have some pre-existing conditions, obviously. And so, obviously, talk to your doctor, figure that stuff out on your own. But obviously, it's very clear. It's very clear that the government's going to try to use this as an excuse to do more lockdowns. Obviously, they did more restrictions when it came to travel, even though disease is probably already here, to be perfectly honest. But they're already locking down travel to Africa. They're probably going to start more lockdowns in places like New York and California and all these leftist hellholes. Probably more lockdowns in places like New Zealand, Australia. They're just going to use that as an excuse to have more lockdowns. And who knows, maybe they'll release another vaccine for us to all get injected with. That we'll see. We'll see. Either way, of course, what do you think? I am just And why do we? I don't know why we even give the WHO any funding at this point. I don't get it. They don't do anything. They didn't help at all during COVID. In fact, they hindered us during COVID. They're now still running cover from the Chinese, obviously. Why do we even fund them whatsoever? Why do we even treat them with any bit of respect? I will never understand. But, leave a comment below. What do you think? Is this going to be a huge problem? Is the Omicron variant going to kill us all? I doubt it, but what do you think? And of course, if you enjoyed this video, hey, leave a thumbs up, like the video, really do appreciate it. As well as, of course, if you are really enjoying this content here, subscribe to a channel. It's a video every weekday. So please make sure to subscribe to a channel for more content like it. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be talking again real soon.